Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning and welcome to the challenge. As always, first and foremost, I'd like to thank God for another opportunity and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. We are excited about this season's challenge. We intend to bring to you the voices of those in the community, those who have great care and concern for the quality of life that we share here in urban America. I'm bringing with me to the fold, if you will, this morning, someone who I've admired for quite some time, someone whom I'm hoping will contribute often to the challenge, if you will, a young lady by the name of Lorna Shipp. Good morning, Lorna.
Good morning, Russ. How are you?
I'm well. It's so wonderful to have you.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
It is good to have you here. I have been especially cognizant of your involvement in community affairs and your interest, and I think it's particularly because of your children, if you will, how you have carved out whatever time it seems to be necessary in order to be involved in an issue and to have your voice be heard as a part of issue and decisions that are made within this urban setting. Mm-hmm. I want to talk, if you will, this morning about a couple of things, and we talked prior to the show a little bit about it, but the what appears to be the carelessness and the somehow I think just recklessness of leaving kids alone in cars and kids dying. Your thoughts on that this morning? I know we talked a little bit about how you might solve those kinds of problems beforehand, and the challenge, we try to look at solutions to problems too, but why do you think now it becomes so much of an issue?
More prevalent.
More prevalent, if you will, in terms of mainstream's interest.
That's so tough, and I believe that the media will only report what they want to have people hear. I think that this thing with people leaving their children in the car has been coming up and happening more than we realize. The reason behind it, it's mostly the fathers getting ready to go to work. I've heard it happen here in Connecticut, right. D.C. Right. It's all over.
Right.
It's
so it's no real phenomenon as far as you're concerned. It's just somehow now being sort of I guess more of newsworthy as far as mainstream media is concerned.
Yeah. And the incident that happened Monday, I had just found out about this morning. I didn't know that the child had died. It just behooves me that a mother could leave their child in a sweltering car. In the heat.
Well, that's where I'm at. I mean, I have two boys, and I took them with me just about everywhere I went. Growing up, and I just can't imagine someone forgetting that responsibility.
That's the key, forgetting.
Yeah.
How do you forget?
Yeah.
You put your child in the car, and how could you forget that they're still there?
Yeah,
There was another incident, too, at the mall. The mother left the daughter, I believe, at the mall.
Right.
I think that, I don't know how old the child was,
Right.
but she told her mom she wanted to stay in the car.
Sure.
Now, there's an age factor.
Um,
If they're older than 10, they can stay in the car by themselves. This is
Okay.
what I've heard.
I've been told. Sure.
But even at 10 years old, you're not going to have the windows rolled up. You're not
No,
going to have
no,
them,
no.
staying in the car like that.
Yeah.
So-
Are people losing track of time? I mean, do
They're
they
losing
think?
something. I
do
think
they
they're losing.
Yeah, I agree. They are losing. They're losing their minds. Is what they're doing.
Exactly. I mean, they're so
It seems,
busy
yeah.
trying to get other stuff, and who's to say?
Yeah.
What's on their mind to the point of forgetting, being that distracted. We're
Right.
talking about distracted driving
Yeah.
so much with driving while they're talking, texting.
Right.
So people are not mindful at all of what their surroundings
Yeah,
are. I think
yeah.
they're just totally distracted about what's going on in a day-to-day routine.
Yeah. And you said it seems to be, more fathers than mothers. I'm not sure if it's a gender specific kind of thing.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. But I just can't help but wonder if people aren't being lazy also, because I can remember having errands to run and having my children with me and just not wanting to
Wake them up or something, or
yeah,
get them out of
or
But if it's a quick stop,
right.
and you're just going to run in and run out, we're talking hours.
Well, yeah. But I think even the quick stops, though, sometimes, you don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just lazy on the part of whomever for not, taking the child with them or taking them inside.
Well, here's another thing with the quick stops. You can have somebody leave the child in the car and the quick stops, and I think even last year there have been a few incidents where they've been carjacked.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it happened here in
Yeah.
Hartford.
Yeah.
Somebody
I think-
just went in the
yeah,
car at the
yeah,
gas
yeah,
station.
yeah.
The child was left in there.
Yeah, so
and
it's more carelessness and irresponsibility, it seems. And I just don't know that, folks who are prone or who have, unfortunately, those kind of sensibilities, whether they should even have children, if you will. Yeah, it's really kind of sad. I want to talk a little bit, if you will, about what's happening in our neck of the woods, if you will, around education. And I
Sure.
know, everybody's talking about Jamoke Academy, and they're talking about what happened to Dr. Michael Sharp, or Michael
sad.
Sharp, if you will,
Yeah.
and charter schools. And while there's been a real push to try to get kids the education that they deserve, and Jamoke Academy certainly has lived up to that billing, the situation with Michael Sharp will have a tremendous impact, I think, on the educational landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you have had some direct dealings with Michael Sharp because of your civic involvement.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that, and what's your perspective at this point?
Well, we served on the board at the Blue Hill Civic Association. We had some community involvement in the past. I tried to get my children into Jamoke at one time, and we did have a relationship with respects to education, and I feel really bad about what has happened with him, and I can imagine for him and his family as well. He just, the whole thing with him not being a doctor means nothing to me because of the fact that he did so much.
Okay.
I don't know where the doctor came from, if he
Right.
made it up or somebody just started to
Okay.
say Dr.
Right.
So-and-so,
Of course,
and
of
it kind of
course.
like
Right.
kind of clicked, and
Sure,
he just didn't
sure.
say anything else
Sure,
about it.
sure.
But the man did excellent work.
Well, that's the thing as far as I'm concerned. I mean, now, all of a sudden after, 17 years or something of being in
Exactly.
education, all of a sudden now his credentials,
Questioned.
were questioned. And for whatever reason, his past, which is his,
That's in the past.
ancient, in my opinion. I mean, these
Exactly.
were almost 20 years ago, becomes a factor in determining whether or not he is worthy, if you will, of this opportunity.
Right.
And it seems to me to be really kind of far-fetched, and somebody's reaching. I know we live in a capitalistic society, and there's competition
all the time
on all fronts.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering who these anonymous people are,
Mm-hmm.
who decides to
Bring you
inform
down. Right.
the newspaper that we've got somebody who isn't really a doctor saying he's a doctor, and we've got somebody who's a criminal or who has a criminal past that nobody knows about. Who does that?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't, I just think that when it comes to our community, it would seem that there's always somebody, looking to dig up some dirt or to open up a closet and pull a skeleton out for whatever reason, and never let any of us, if you will, live down whatever past we might have.
Well, it's so true. When someone comes out and does the work that they do,
Right.
and does a great job, you're going to have somebody just jealous. They call them haters now.
Right.
So, you always have that person that wants to have that other, the bigness, the feel
Right.
I'm the man, I'm the woman, I'm this, and making that other person feel like nothing. I think that the work that Michael Sharp has done with Jamoki, splitting from one school to another academy,
Oh, yeah.
and having that whole charter outlook being modeled even to Milner School.
Sure.
So you're talking about the Hartford Public Schools
Sure,
now looking
sure.
at what was being done.
Oh, absolutely.
Going all the way down to Bridgeport. I mean, it's phenomenal.
It is. I would
Whatever
agree
it
with
is,
that.
it's working.
Yeah.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you have to wonder what will happen at this point to the children. I mean, the fallout from it, I mean, they have to be impacted by it. The story seems to be, taking a lot of twists and turns. There's some talk about the governor's involvement, if you will, in it, and the fact that he has been awarded some $53 million in grants that are going to be or would be going to Fuse, and now I guess that's being taken away from him.
Right.
Is that
right? And as a matter of fact, this morning was announced that Bridgeport is definitely going to just remove all activities with Fuse at this point.
Wow.
So there's going to be a lot of people that's going to be coming out.
Wow. It just I mean, as a parent, what are you thinking now about Jamoki and the leadership? Would you still want your kids to go to a Jamoki Academy?
I don't think that would be a factor. I would still have my children going to Jamoki if my children were going there. I wouldn't have that because you have so many people in higher authority
Right.
that are being looked down upon. Well, look at the mayors. In the past history
Right.
of mayors going down,
Right.
if you will,
Yeah.
would you say, well, I'm not going to live in Hartford anymore because that mayor had to go to jail or something?
Right.
So I would not pull my children out of the school because the CEO or
Right.
the principal, if you will, had a history that was questionable or something.
Yeah. That is interesting. I can't help but think that some of, or not of, if not all of it, isn't pretty deliberate in terms of whoever he's competing with for the opportunity to run those schools. I know Fuse itself is just a management company, and the Capital Region Educational Council is also, as I understand it, a management company. And there are a number of companies that are managing schools now, and the whole education dollar, if you will, is opportunity. For people to have very meaningful work, very meaningful careers, and I'm still wondering who is this anonymous person? Who is this supposedly good Samaritan that came forward to? You have any idea who it is?
I have no clue.
You got no?
I have no
well,
clue.
you know,
I have my magic crystal ball, nothing. I don't even know.
You got nothing to share with the viewers at this point.
And if I did, should I dare say? Oh. Wow, no. But we're in election year, so that's something too that
right.
A lot of things are going on. There's the chef movement. I'm sure you're familiar with. That is doing a lot of things in education.
Right.
As a matter of fact, there's something going on today at the LOB.
Okay.
So you know, there's been a flyer out. They're trying to get the thing with the chef movement, of course, as you know. Education, fairness, and everything.
Yeah.
However, what they want or have a problem with is the waiting list.
Okay.
So you have a child on the wait list.
Mm-hmm.
So how long do I have to stay on the wait list? Is that fair? So many schools in Hartford now are turning into magnet schools.
Yes.
So if I live across the street from a school and I have to have a waiting list, I have to have my child put on a waiting list.
It seems unfair.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it seems unfair.
So we're trying to make great strides to figure out the best way to make sure that our children have the best education.
Sure.
And start putting us on some waiting list.
Right. You know. But is the key changing the schools or curriculum or changing the staff, if you will, the people who are, supposedly, charged with, developing the curriculums and those kinds of things. I can't really tell from where I'm sitting. And it seems like there's a battle going on between employees and managers or leaders or people who are in charge of running those schools.
Look at the Board of Education.
Well,
and the commission. No, you're familiar,
Well, yeah, I mean,
I as a matter of fact, I have stopped going to the Board of Education meetings because it's become a circus.
There's a lot of bickering and a back and forth between the supposedly people who are charged with creating policies that hopefully help change the dynamics within the city. You can't help. That's one of the reasons why I'm sure the governor and others have, the people in the Department of Education in the state have chosen to use other management companies like Fuse, to basically administer and operate other schools because the Board of Education just doesn't seem to be able to settle on the best course of action.
They can't agree on anything.
Yeah, well, even when it comes to hiring, if you will, superintendents to run the schools.
Whatever happened with that?
I couldn't tell you. So
Kishimoto is out, and so we get somebody else in. And what's next? It's always a different plateau when it comes to education and our children. And as a parent, it's always, what now?
That's what I'm wondering. I can't help but wonder, what are other parents saying? I'm sure you talk, amongst others in your neighborhood.
We're fed up. Other parents are fed up. We all want the same, which is the best education for our children.
Right.
But we are tired of this bickering. We're tired of this pull back and forth.
Right.
And for the sake of our children. And it starts so early.
Right.
We have children in preschool. So you have a parent that has a child in preschool, never been a parent. This is the first child. Mm-hmm. That child goes into second grade, and then they have another child. So every child has a different plateau based on the education at that time because things are changing so rapidly. And
your involvement as a parent it has to be almost mandatory. There's no way a child can be left to their own devices to move through the school system like perhaps it was in the past.
As a new parent, I think that the best thing a parent can do is be involved in the school.
Yeah.
That's number one. Because when I had my first, I had no clue. And I went to schools all the time.
Right.
And figuring that, okay, well, I'll just,
Right.
be around here and see. And Annie Fisher was the school that was so real and
Yes.
so, very interactive with the students, the parents, and the faculty.
Oh yeah.
Now, when I started getting involved with my first daughter, I noticed a change. When I would come to the school, she would look forward to seeing
Sure,
me, and
sure.
I didn't know that would be the case. You
Right,
know, so
right, right.
as time went on, you start being more involved with
Sure.
with the children.
Sure.
Now, my mom would come to school, I would be scared, because that meant I did something
Something wrong, right?
also,
Yeah, of course,
So
yeah.
it's a totally different generation. But I was involved with the PLTI, which is the Parent Leadership Training Institute.
Okay.
Graduate of 2013. No, back up, 2012.
Okay.
And it was a really good experience
Okay,
to
okay.
be amongst other parents that have the same goal.
It's very interesting and very telling too, I'm sure, in terms of the child's overall development. I almost think that if they're going to legislate stuff, they ought to legislate parents' involvement, but also make certain that corporate America, if you will, has a stake in it as well, because meeting the obligations of work and meeting the obligations of being a parent, to me, they work hand in hand, because companies are concerned about developing these talent pools, kids who can take on these jobs for the future. Then to me, they ought to understand that parents need a sufficient amount of time to commit to helping those child, especially through navigating through all of the problems that exist, if you will, within the school
right.
system.
Right.
If the adults are having problems, then the
The
children are
are.
having
Yeah, because
problems
it
as well.
filters through. It's a domino effect.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know that I know corporate America is thinking profits.
Of
So,
course, yeah.
So they're not overly concerned about you as an individual. They're just trying to figure out how best to make shareholders happy. But I think in terms of growth, and I think in terms of our future, they will have to become more involved, because the very best, the very brightest, and the most talented will probably have families who are in school systems. Would you agree?
I would, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And a lot of children, I guess they would not benefit as much as an active parent, because you might have a child going through school. They may not have a parent. Maybe they're in a foster home.
Oh.
Maybe So there are other different factors
Sure.
too that
Sure.
are very strong in a child's life.
Yeah.
So, as a parent,
Uh-huh.
and my daughter is in one classroom, I was a parent to all of them.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And try to help out as much as possible.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
respect to that. Now, parents are working. We have busy schedules.
Oh, of course.
So I was fortunate at the time
Right.
to have a different job
Sure.
that allowed me to be at the school
Sure.
during the day, because
Of
my
course.
job was at night.
Yeah.
So then when I had a job during the day,
Uh-huh.
you can get your teacher's name, get
Right.
a phone number, and just double check, during the week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be it, make those parent conference meetings.
Right.
Just be an active force in the PTO.
Of course.
That's
Of course.
very important.
Yeah.
That's another problem that we had in the
Yeah.
school system. PTO.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking.
See, and
saying
that's
we have
and
a
that's
problem.
and that's the thing too, Lorna. I'm hearing that people are so busy, and they have so many things going on, but the productivity, being productive, and living in a place that we can all appreciate, having the things that we need, they're still not there.
No.
I mean, that's the thing that it's kind of astonishing to me with all that's going on, all of the activity. There seems to be very little achievement, and I think that's to me, it's kind of, I don't want to sound like an alarmist or anything, but for me it's kind of it's a bit disturbing, because you do hear, well, people are doing this and doing that, and they've got all of these things that they're involved in, but at the same time, we don't even know each other.
All right. Which brings us back to the beginning of our program.
Of course.
Of being distracted.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? That is amazing. Boy, our time has come and gone. I can't tell you how much, it's been a pleasure having you.
Likewise.
You got to come back. I know you're busy. And I know that you're a mom, and your involvement in the community is very noteworthy. I'm glad you're out there. I'm glad you're one of the voices that actually speaks up and speaks to those issues, because unfortunately there are a lot of folks who are reluctant to even do that. Yeah. And I just think that sharing your voice and having your opinion be part of the consideration is very necessary.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you so very, very much for being with us. There is a constant challenge for all of us, and that's what we want to talk about here on The Challenge. And hopefully, at some point we'll hear your voice. Until then, be blessed.